Hey everyone, it's your buddy back again with another exciting fanfic, which is what if Naruto has failed the third attempt at his Genin exam. Part 3. If you enjoy this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fanfics like this. Now, let's dive right into the fanfic. Sakura closed when Ino noticed Naruto moving to one side of the blonde and stopped looking at Sakura. A fast punch to the gut stole Ino's breath, and the metallic sound of a kunai being drawn was followed by the cold touch of it on her neck. Asuma breathed a light whistle. It had taken Naruto and Sakura less than 30 seconds to dismantle his team. All three would have been dead if it had been a real life and death battle. The sound of a firecracker went off as the tag on the kunai sounded. Sakura walked over to pick it up from the ground, then held out a hand to Shikamaru. The lazy ninja took it and was helped up. Naruto had already gone to Choji and was checking on the large boy's bloody nose. Ino just remained on her knees with her head in the same position it had been when Sakura had laid the kunai on her neck. Everyone else came up to her while she remained still. Sakura knelt next to the blonde and gently spoke to her. "Ino, you're all right." Ino looked at Sakura with tears in her eyes. "No, I'm not. I thought we were so great. Then you come in and beat us like we just started the academy." "How?" Sakura smiled gently at her old friend. "A lot of sweat, a lot of bruises, and a lot of times being in that very position you are in right now. But the best thing about training is you can die as many times as it takes to learn how not to." Sakura stood and held out her hand. Ino reached out and took it and pulled Sakura into a hug when she had stood. "I missed you, forehead." "Same here, Piggy," Sakura replied. Asuma walked up to the one-time classmates. "Now Team 10, what did you do wrong in that one?" That night Sarutobi was strolling home and saw Asuma waiting outside the clan compound. "How did it go today, Asuma?" the Hokage asked. Asuma chuckled. "About how I expected it to go. My team got beat 4 out of 5 spars. The 5th was a draw, but I think your team threw that one. You know something? It might be a good idea to run future academy classes through that remedial style training before making them genin. Convince the clans and I'll authorize it. They like the current system. Only the fact that I insist on at least half the academy be made of non-clan students is the only reason the elite is not more unbalanced than it is now." "So how did my team do?" Sarutobi asked. "They were good, Pop. They were confident. They never fell for the same trick twice, and most importantly, they were humble about it when they won. I hate to admit it, but my team had that 'I am part of a clan so I am better than you' attitude. Naruto and Sakura just beat that out of them today. It was exactly what I wanted," Asuma finished with a laugh. "I seem to recall a certain son of a Hokage that had that same attitude once," Sarutobi smirked. Asuma nodded. "And I had it beaten out of me the exact same way. I really should thank the Hokage for setting me up for that beating, but somehow I think he knows already." Sarutobi nodded sagely and gestured Asuma inside. "You have got to hear what your nephew tried to pull today." Genin from many villages filed into the academy room 301. Team 10 ran into Team 8 and they stood together against the pressure of all the other genin in the room. The tense atmosphere in the room was made worse when the proctor, Morino Ibiki, arrived with a dozen chunin in a burst of chakra smoke. The genin were sent racing to their seats and the testing began. Within minutes, cheaters were being called out and dismissed from the test with their teams. "Number 42, you fail," came a cry. "Number 101 and 17 go with him." This brought out a loud roar of anger from Uchiha Sasuke as he was thrown out along with his cheating teammate. Naruto watched as Materashi Anko led 48 genin towards the forest of death. The boy was doing sit-ups while he hung under a branch by his feet holding on with chakra. He saw Team 10 and Team 8 in the group and whispered, "Good luck guys." Naruto met Sakura and Kakashi for a brief mission to the border to pick up traffic reports. They would travel 1 day to the border, 2 days along it to visit various stations and site verify that each team was who they were supposed to be, and 1 day to return to Konoha. Kakashi viewed it as busy work so that the Hokage could deal with the second phase of the Chunin exams, but for Naruto and Sakura it was an adventure. Come on, Kakashi-sensei. This is our first time past the walls. It's exciting. Naruto cried out. Sakura chuckled at her friend's antics, but she was excited as well. Technically the mission was C-ranked because it left the village. She didn't care about that because it was another actual mission. It got them away from the stares and glares the civilians kept giving her. At least her mother wasn't suffering from Sakura's newfound reputation. Her mom had lost her job when the plan to infiltrate Root had begun. However, after the destruction of it, a different employer called her mom in for a better job. Sakura knew it had something to do with Hiro and some of the mysterious blue-masked ninja people had mentioned, but she couldn't prove it. She did not push the issue either way. The pink-haired girl had to admit that long-distance tree running was an exciting thing at first, but once you got used to it, it got dull quickly. Kakashi was pleased with the time they made on the journey out to the border. He was not sure what to expect from this better-trained pair. He realized that Sakura was more than he had seen for the few hours he had tested Team 7 6 months earlier. Once she had been forced to shed her fangirl attitude, she turned out to be a much stronger individual. He felt shamed that he had not seen that before failing the team. On the other hand, Naruto was still an enigma to the Genin. Kakashi knew who the boy was and had helped keep him safe years ago. He knew the boy had a lot of issues still, but the last 6 months had changed the blonde as well. He was calmer and much more focused. The focus brought his intelligence out more as he had been taught to take the time to think before acting. The boy was still loud and brash at times, but Kakashi realized that was for emotional self-protection. Once outside the village and with people he knew he could trust, the loud boy faded and the quiet one emerged. He was not moody or sullen, just quiet. It was as if the boy knew he did not need to prove anything to either Sakura or Kakashi. Sakura had earned that trust recently and Kakashi had it for years. One other thing that worried him was how close the pair seemed. There was something underneath going on with them he had no part of. He recognized it as something he felt with a few of his old Anbu teammates who had survived a terrible battle alongside him. Something developed down en route with them, but neither one was talking about it, something more than friendship but less than romance. Kakashi pulled himself out of his thought just in time to avoid leaping into a tree trunk. He chuckled at himself and focused back on the mission. The rest of the mission went as planned. They got to see the border stations and get a look at some other ninja who had not heard of the Root incident yet. The border guards were military ninja and they recognized both Naruto and Sakura as one of their own. The fact that they were working under one of the most famous elites boosted how many of them felt about their own potential for the future. After 4 days, the tired and dirty trio returned to Konoha and reported into the Hokage. The mission report was easy enough. They simply turned over the traffic reports and informed the Hokage that all the people who should have been at the locations were there. The Hokage was looking haggard as he dismissed them, so they just left without asking how the second test of the Chunin exams went. Sakura hurried over to Ino's house to get the latest word on that. She even invited Naruto to come along. But when they arrived at the flower shop, they found it closed. An elderly neighbor told them that Ino was in the hospital. The pair took to the roofs of Konoha and ran all the way there. The waiting room in the hospital was packed with people. It seems this Chunin exam had been a bloody one. Sakura spotted the blonde hair of Ino's mom and walked over to her. The flower shop owner saw the pink hair of Sakura and pulled her daughter's once again friend into a hug. Sakura was confused but hugged back. "What's wrong?" Sakura asked. "I just got back from an out-of-town mission and went to the shop, but it was closed." Ino's mom wiped her eyes and looked Sakura in the eye. "Ino got hurt during the tests. Shikamaru and Choji told me most of it, but I am sure they left some things out. Her team made it past the test and taken to an arena because Choji was saying something about too many people finished. She had to fight in a solo match against a boy from the sand village. He could manipulate sand and wrapped her in it. Ino tried to use a family mind jutsu on him instead of surrendering. Shikamaru said she just screamed and has not woken up since. She is catatonic right now. Inoichi and a few cousins are trying to help her, but they haven't been able to do much. Sakura was shocked. Naruto looked at all the people in the waiting area. Many different clans were represented. A Nara was sitting staring at the ceiling. A Hyuga sat stoically apart from the rest. An Inuzuka sat with a trio of dogs. An Aburame stood off in the corner. It did not take a genius to know something bad had happened. Naruto noticed Choji coming out of the bathroom with a few bandages on. He walked over to Choji. Hey, Choji, I just got back from a mission. What happened? Choji looked at Naruto for a moment before nodding. It was as if he had to think about what Naruto had said before he could respond. It was horrible, Naruto. 15 people, 5 teams made it through the second stage of the exam. The Hokage gave a little talk and we ended up having to fight an elimination round before we could move into the finals. Ino got matched up against a redhead from Suna. He was going to crush her with sand. He kept asking her if she could prove his existence. She used her mind jutsu on him even while Shikamaru was telling her to give up. I saw her smirk appear on the boy's face for a moment before both of them screamed. The boy collapsed and Ino was she ended up on the ground just staring out straight and twitching. Both got disqualified. Neither one has woken up yet. The Yamanakas will not even try to work on the Suna boy after trying to get into Ino's mind. One muttered Shukaku and almost spat at the boy after looking into Ino's head. Naruto was saddened. He never knew Ino that well, but she had never been mean to him. Well, outside of being a Sasuke fangirl, kind of mean. He looked around the room once more. Choji, that explains what your team's family is doing here. Why are Team 8's clans here? Choji looked down at his feet. They never finished the second part of the exam. They got ambushed by a foreign heavy combat team who were wearing stolen leaf headbands. The foreigners used lightning jutsu, so people think they might have been from Cloud, but no one can prove that. Kiba said they zapped Shino with a lightning strike that fried most of his destruction bugs and nearly killed him. They jumped Kiba next and he ended up taking a hit in place of Akamaru. The attack would have killed the pup, but it broke both of Kiba's arms instead. Then the team went after Hinata. Choji stopped and shuddered. Kiba said something happened to Hinata. You know how she has always been this shy, quiet girl, right? Well, Kiba got a look at her face as she attacked them. He said it was like she was a completely different person. Her hands were literally glowing with chakra as she tore that team to pieces. I mean, parts were scattered as far as 20 yards away. But the last one died after he managed to impale her on his sword. All 3 are in intensive care right now, but the medics say all should recover. Naruto was shocked. The idea that gentle Hinata could lose control like that was easy for him to understand. She had so few people as kind to her as her teammates that she would overcome her shyness to save them. So if they are going to recover, why the vigil and evil looks between the members of their clans? Choji looked down then back into Naruto's eyes. The Hyuga elders were furious at the fact Hinata got hurt like she did, even though it was received protecting her team instead of ensuring her own safety. One said outright she makes the clan look weak. They were demanding Hiashi put Hinata into the branch family and brand her with their seal. Hiashi has been reluctant to do that to either of his daughters. The Inuzuka and Aburame both claimed blood debt on Hinata and said that if the Hyuga even attempt it, they will not leave a single other main branch Hyuga alive. Both clans have formally requested permission to adopt Hinata away from the Hyuga to keep that damned slavery seal off her forehead. Naruto was quiet about that. He knew nothing about the Hyuga other than Hinata was supposed to be the heir. He would have to find out more and soon. No wonder the old man looked so worn out. How are you doing, Choji? He asked. Choji looked down at his bandages. A few bumps and bruises. I made it into the finals next month. I had to fight a girl from Suna who used a giant fan and a lot of wind techniques. She was really good, but she was distracted by that red-haired boy not waking up. I wouldn't have won otherwise even though I was not doing so well because of Ino, he said. Wow Choji, good for you. Who else made it? Naruto asked. Besides me, Shikamaru, Hinata's cousin Neji and the guy's whole team, a guy from Suna who uses puppets and 2 guys from the New Sound Village. They cut off the preliminaries when only 8 people were left. The girl on Neji's team, Tenten and one of the sound guys had their fight postponed so they start things off in the big tournament. The only person not to fight was the crazy spandex kid with the eyebrows you see running around town, Lee. Turns out he is on the team with that girl Tenten and Neji. Naruto nodded and the silence after Choji finished just went on. Naruto then noticed something. Choji, I gotta go take care of a few things. I just got back from a mission and I am a little ripe. I'll stop back in later on to see how things are going. Choji nodded. He had not wanted to tell Naruto he reeked but was glad the blonde was developing social skills and noticed it himself. Thanks, Naruto. Take care. The blonde headed out to go get cleaned up and eat. The following morning, Naruto and Sakura stood next to Kakashi in front of the Hokage. I have been considering who would make a good fit as a third person on your team. There are not many at the moment. For now, I want to evaluate Uchiha Sasuke as possibly being the last member of your team. He requested being moved and everyone else on his current team endorsed it. He has been disruptive and is not a team player but he is a highly skilled Genin. Kakashi, I know you failed the Genin on Team 7 6 months ago but I want to see how the originally planned Team 7 works out. Kakashi nodded but all 3 people facing the Hokage had a bad feeling about this. Naruto was very quiet once the team left the Hokage's office. His mind went back to the last time he had seen Sasuke, the day he had failed the Genin exam. Sasuke had just sneered at him and walked past muttering, "Loser." He had tried to make himself the rival of Sasuke back then but no matter what he did, the Uchiha had a counter for it. It never looked like Sasuke was even trying very hard either. He would leave Naruto lying in the dirt and go back to his trying to do some fancy move. Sakura noticed Naruto's funk right away and knew why. She had been such a shallow girl back then. No matter what happened she would take Sasuke's side and degrade Naruto after a failure. With how she taunted the blonde, she was surprised he still had always tried to impress her and treat her well. Sakura quietly spoke up when the team got to a training field. I'm sorry, Naruto. I was such a bitch to you back in the academy. You didn't deserve anything I said to you then. Naruto smiled weakly to his friend. Don't worry about it, Sakura-chan. I forgave all of that a long time ago. You're not the same immature person you were then. We both learned from our mistakes and are better than we were then. Then how about tomorrow we show that primadonna just how much better we are when we pull that stick out of his butt and beat him with it. Sakura said with an evil grin. Naruto was shocked to hear Sakura talk like that but his smile was one of the most honest and grateful Sakura had ever seen on his face. Kakashi looked at his team, why don't we skip practice today? Be here in the morning at 7:30. The Hokage told Sasuke to be there at 8 o'clock for his tryout. Sakura and Naruto both nodded. He turned to leave when Sakura called after him, Naruto. Do you want to grab something to eat and discuss what we are going to do tomorrow? Sure, Naruto said with a grin. A few minutes before 8 o'clock the next morning, Uchiha Sasuke was grumbling as he entered the training field. I hope this team is not as much of a pack of losers as the last team, he thought as he looked around. No one here. Someone should at least be waiting for me to arrive. In the trees that bordered the training field, 5 eyes watched him closely. The 3 people using those eyes were not even well hidden but they were still unnoticed. His awareness is terrible, Sakura commented. Even Naruto could have spotted us by now. Naruto looked over at her and she smiled and stuck her tongue out at him. Naruto smiled back. He knew she was kidding and her comment held no malice. Kakashi spoke up. Let's get this test going, shall we? He pulled out a kunai with an explosive tag attached and hurled it at the unsuspecting Uchiha. Sasuke noticed some movement in the trees and focused on a kunai speeding at him. He jumped off to one side and looked back to see the tag explode. He was shoved from behind. Remedial lesson number 1. Don't watch a tag explode. Look for the person who threw it, a muffled girl's voice said as he whirled around and drew a kunai. He only saw a glimpse of a leg as the person moved around behind him again. On the ground was another explosive note. He jumped backwards only to take a kick to the spine as he landed. The blow made him drop his kunai. Remedial lesson number 2. Never move without looking if you don't know what is there when you are going to land, a boy's voice spoke. Sasuke was getting angry and spun to see a glimpse of blonde hair vanish into the trees. He growled at being attacked like this and his hands began flashing through signs and ended with the tiger. Kaden. Go, arg. Pain lashed through his thigh as something hard rammed into it which gave him a charley horse and collapsed his leg. Remedial lesson number 3. Never stand still in the middle of a battle and cast an obvious jutsu. Sasuke rolled back to his feet to see the pink-haired Sakura standing there with her arms crossed and his dropped kunai in her hand. Her smirk was an obvious copy of his from the academy. He was about to lunge forward when a kunai pressed against his neck. A voice behind him said in his ear, Remedial lesson number 4. When opponents are equal, proper teamwork will always trump individual effort. You're dead. That's enough, Naruto. I think the point was made, Kakashi said. The Genin noticed the sneer on Sasuke's face. At least I hope the point was made. Naruto stepped back out of arm's reach from Sasuke and put his kunai away. The blonde then circled around to Kakashi. Sakura moved from the other side. The entire time they moved they never took their eyes off Sasuke or moved close enough for a quick attack from him. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at the trio before him. You mean I am going to have 2 academy failures and the Genin who failed my first team is my new team? Kakashi smiled at the arrogant boy. Actually, we are going to be testing you to see if you're good enough to be joining their team. Sasuke sneered. I doubt these losers could keep up with me. Naruto chuckled. Why would we want to go backwards? You're the one who needs to catch up to us if you want to be on our team, Sasuke. Anytime, anywhere, Naruto. The only way you have a chance against me is a sneak attack like you just made, Sasuke growled. Kakashi held up his hand. No fighting between you without my permission. There will always be a third person to judge or be able to get help. Is that understood, Sasuke? Sasuke just crossed his arms and grunted, HN. Kakashi stepped closer to Sasuke. I asked, is that understood? Sasuke. Sasuke glared. Yes, he finally said after some 30 seconds passed. Kakashi nodded. Since you are being evaluated, we can move right into the daily exercises. Sakura and Naruto nodded and immediately took off jogging at a fast pace. Sasuke continued to stand there with his arms crossed. Kakashi looked at the dark-haired boy, waiting for a personal invitation. The Uchiha glare had no effect on Kakashi, so Sasuke finally started moving after the other two. Naruto and Sakura led the jog on a winding course toward the training center they were very familiar with. Sasuke followed along and got slightly winded at the pace the pair set. Kakashi followed along behind Sasuke humming a happy tune. Once they reached the obstacle course, the pair stopped and waited for Sasuke and Kakashi. There was a new class of remedial trainees at the course. Naruto and Sakura both bowed respectfully to the healed Ito. Ito nodded his head in reply and walked over. Come to keep in shape. Naruto smiled. I come almost every day. I want the course record. Sakura spoke up next. We are evaluating a possible new teammate. We need to know what he can do so we know how much training he needs. Sasuke came up puffing. Kakashi had stopped him and told him he couldn't use chakra to bolster his metabolism while running. Naruto and Sakura weren't. If he was using chakra while running, it was considered cheating during exercise. Ito looked over at Sasuke and commented, wasn't he Rookie of the Year for your class? Naruto gave a small nod. Wow. Low standards up there in elite for clan folk, Ito said. He looked back at his class who were just watching this. Push-ups. He yelled at them. The entire class got down and began doing the push-ups and counting off in sync. Sasuke had caught his breath by now and grumbled, "What are we doing down here in the military ninja section?" Sakura muttered, "How did I ever like this fool?" She turned to face Sasuke. "This is the next part of your evaluation. All military ninja have to complete this obstacle course to pass. Since you are so much better than us, how about you do it to prove it?" Ito understood what Naruto and Sakura were doing now. "Class, that's enough push-ups. I want all of you to stand and observe how Uchiha Sasuke completes the advanced obstacle course." Sasuke flushed red and looked over the course. He had no clue how to do this thing. They were doing this to intentionally humiliate him. Sakura walked past Sasuke. "I'll go first and you can see how it's done." She started walking up the 20 feet vertical wall to ring a bell, then back down at the same speed. Next, she walked across the water pool and lay on the platform on the far side before crawling across the water in a different direction under some bars. She came to a rope and took hold of it with her hands and lifted her legs out straight in front of her body. Then she climbed the rope like that using only her arms. Sakura rang a bell at the top of the rope before dropping to another platform. She descended down a series of 2-inch wide vertical poles by stepping on the top of each one. The descent could be jarring as each pole was 3 feet away and 3 feet lower than the previous one. Once on the ground, Sakura needed to jump and grasp a horizontal bar, do a single chin-up and then drop until she had straight arms. Once there, she needed to pull herself back up and hook a leg over the bar and get on top of it to stand and jump to another horizontal bar higher up and repeat the process 4 times up to the top of a tower. A rope descent over the water pool with her hands pulling and her ankles linked over the rope got her back to the ground. At the final obstacle, she had to lift her feet and hang from a platform via chakra in her feet and do 20 vertical sit-ups counting off each one. After finishing the final sit-up, she dropped to the ground and sprinted for a bell to signal completion. Sasuke just stared like an idiot. How the hell did that fangirl manage to do all of that? She had not just walked across water, she had crawled across water and not gotten wet. Sakura returned and got a high five from Naruto. Her time was a good 15 seconds below the posted maximum allowed time and she had not even been pushing herself. "Nice time. Not close to my best, but you never pushed to beat that," Naruto said with a smile. Sakura blushed lightly at the praise. "Your turn, Sasuke," Sakura said, smiling at the genius. Sasuke got an angry look on his face. "You're trying to embarrass me, aren't you?" he hissed. Ito sent the class off to do laps so they would not hear what was going to come. He nodded to Kakashi and took off after his charges. "No, they aren't," Kakashi said once the remedial class had left. "They are showing you how much you need to do to catch up to them. Things you should have learned over the past 6 months under Genin sensei but that you refused to do. You just were focusing on high-ranked jutsu and fancy kunai tricks. I looked over his evaluation on your skills. You are behind even the most basic military side graduate right now. Your chakra levels have barely changed since the academy. Your control is a bit better and that allows for your fire jutsu strength to increase and make you think you are getting stronger. But since you refuse to do the physical things that increase chakra, you are falling further and further behind your peers. But I need strong jutsu to beat my brother," Sasuke yelled. "I need to activate my Sharingan and defeat him to avenge my family." "So, you want to be strong enough to beat an Anbu-level ninja who killed an entire clan of Uchiha, but you don't want to work hard at making yourself better? That is never going to happen, Sasuke. Eyes are only as good as the body they are a part of," Kakashi continued. "Your arrogance and superiority complex hold you back. You focus everything you have and everything you are on the pipe dream of killing your brother. The fact that you refuse to see is that you are not even on the same level he was at the age you are now. Now he is another 5 years older and another 5 years better, and you still haven't matched his age 10 level. If you trained properly, you might have. If you asked for help, you might have. Making your fireball jutsu stronger will not defeat Itachi. Making fancy knife throwing tricks will not defeat Itachi. Blaming others or saying they are holding you back are excuses you're making, Sasuke. The only person holding back Uchiha Sasuke is Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke was red-faced and growling at Kakashi now. The man had to be lying. Shut up, he yelled. You're trying to confuse me. You're just trying to hold me back like everyone else is. When I failed Team 7, I recommended that you get treatment for mental issues, Sasuke. Itachi did something to your head when he left. You were in a coma for a week after he killed your entire clan. Then you never took up a single offer for help. You never said what he did to you. Sasuke was holding his head now as the words of Itachi were beginning to sound in his mind. You are not even worth killing. Foolish little brother, if you wish to kill me, hate me, detest me, and survive in an unsightly way. Run and cling to life. And one day, when you have the same eyes as I do, come before me. He said I need to have the same eyes he did, the highest level of Sharingan. When I had it I would be able to face him, Sasuke finally admitted. Now you know why I need to get stronger. That is why I need strong jutsu and training. Naruto was barely keeping himself from jumping this supposed genius in front of him. Strong jutsu is useless unless you have the basic skills to back them up, he said instead. Sasuke turned to look at Naruto, still red-faced from yelling at Kakashi. He didn't have to take anything from the dead last. Then fight me and I'll prove I have the skills to back it up. Not yet, Naruto replied. With Kakashi-sensei's permission, I want to ask you 5 questions that you have to answer truthfully and completely before I'll fight you. Kakashi thought for a moment before nodding his agreement. Sakura saw the kunai throwing trick Kakashi-sensei mentioned. Why was he learning it and how long have you been trying to duplicate it? Naruto asked. Sasuke grumbled. I don't know why he was learning it, I figured it was a special attack. I just saw him doing it and I wanted to learn it to show I could be better than him. He was doing it before he killed the clan, so close to 5 years now. Kakashi's visible eyebrow went up. Sasuke, didn't you realize that kunai trick had only one purpose? Itachi was assigned to obtain a document and the only way to disarm the traps without the master key was to stop them all at once. He took 2 months learning that one-time use trick and eventually completed his mission. Sasuke was in shock that his prized attack had been nothing more than a way to disarm a trap. All of his training at his brother's special attack was a meaningless waste of 5 years of effort. He glowered and looked at Naruto. 4 more questions. Do you know any non-academy jutsu not related to fire, and if so, why not? No, I don't. My team leader wouldn't show me any good ones. Naruto was about to speak but Sakura motioned him to silence. Good. As in what level of jutsu was he showing you? Sasuke glared at Sakura but decided to answer anyhow. Worthless D and E level jutsu. He said they were standard knowledge for military ninja. They were not worth my time. Sakura shook her head. I'll remember that if we are ever on a mission and your canteen runs dry or you have to ask for help to conceal a campsite. Naruto spoke up again. What other taijutsu styles have you tried to learn? Sasuke sneered. There is no style better than the Uchiha style. Once I unlock my Sharingan I will have it mastered, he said smugly. I think the Hyuga would disagree, but you both are entitled to your fantasies. Next question. Do you honestly believe you can defeat your brother once your eyes are developed when you cannot even reach the same rank he did? Sasuke crossed his arms and glowered at Naruto again. Once I have my eyes unlocked, nothing will be able to stop me. I just need people to stop holding me back. Kakashi shook his head while Sakura muttered, arrogant much. 1 more question, Naruto. Then I show you how far below me you still are, Sasuke said. Naruto put on an exaggerated thinking pose for several seconds before snapping his fingers. Got it. First we'll go out onto the sparring ground before I ask since you are likely going to attack once you answer. The blonde led the way to the sparring fields nearby with Sasuke following closely behind. Kakashi and Sakura followed a little further back. Once Naruto had moved to the center of the area, he smiled at Sasuke. Okay, final question. Are you aware that your hairstyle looks like a cockatiel's butt? The blonde said with a grin. Sasuke's face turned white before quickly turning red, then purple as his rage grew. Kakashi took a couple of steps back from the teenage boys and motioned at Sakura to do the same. Sasuke rushed at Naruto with a kunai drawn, intent on killing the blonde for his disrespect. The blonde just stood with that stupid grin on his face even when the blade cut deep into his stomach. Sasuke frowned at how easy it was until Naruto turned into a leafy branch. Another kunai touched his shoulder. Replacement technique. You're dead again, Sasuke, said Naruto. Sasuke swung his arm around and hit Naruto in the chest with his fist. Naruto grabbed Sasuke's wrist and held it as he slammed the metal plate on the back of his hand into Sasuke's elbow. The Uchiha grunted in pain as he lost feeling in his hand for a few seconds. His use of jutsu was gone for several minutes since his fingers on that hand had clenched into a fist. The blonde punched Sasuke hard in the stomach. The dark-haired Uchiha gasped until a fist knocked his head back with a slight bit of blood mixed into the flying spit. Sasuke swung back drunkenly but got a punch in the lower back as a counter. Sasuke grabbed onto Naruto's gray jacket to try to slow down the fight. Naruto leapt back from Sasuke only for a moment before charging in again. Sasuke tried defending against Naruto, but the blonde never gave the dark-haired boy a chance to rest. Naruto made random blows and kicks in no particular style. Sasuke gave a better defense, but his moves seemed delayed as if he were waiting for a clue to Naruto's attacks. The self-taught Uchiha clan taijutsu was not working well for Sasuke without an active Sharingan to let him know where the blows were coming from. You fight the same way you did in the academy, Sasuke. The only problem for you here is I'm not, Naruto commented as he attacked. Your style needs something you do not have. If you are up against a style you don't know, you will lose trying to use just your clan's style. Then you knew where and when an attack would come from, since everyone has a single style to use. Different clan styles or academy style didn't matter because you had seen them and knew how to counter them from practice. Sasuke didn't respond but jumped away to flash his hands through hand signs ending with a tiger. Kaden, Gokaku no Jutsu, Grand Fireball, he yelled. The fireball spread out over a good portion of the field in front of Sasuke. He blew for several more seconds before letting it fade. He stood looking around and not seeing anyone before hanging his head while panting. A kunai tapped on his shoulder twice this time. You really should not do that in a fight, Sasuke. People might think you were actually winning. Oh, and you're dead again, Naruto said. How did you avoid that? Sasuke demanded as he kept panting. It was quite easy, Naruto said while shrugging his shoulders. You telegraphed your move, shouted it at the top of your lungs and spent so much time posing afterward that you never noticed I had gotten around the fireball and behind you. While you were busy just working on your jutsu to make it a little bigger, I was working my butt off to get better. Every day I was run into the ground and made to build up myself physically. Then I was forced to do chakra control exercises every day. I grew to hate that obstacle course. I learned how to harness my energy, which kept growing the stronger I got physically. I still suck at chakra control, believe it or not. Sasuke was tired and he needed a few more minutes to regain his chakra enough to fight some more, so he played for time. How can you suck at it? I'm exhausted and you're not even winded after all we have done. Well, when it comes to chakra, if they gave leadership to whoever has the most, you are looking at the person who would be leader. I have more of it than maybe 4 people in the history of the village. My control of it is one of the worst in history as well. How did you get so much chakra? Sasuke demanded to know. Naruto's frown was the first the Uchiha had ever seen on the blonde. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. I think it's better that you don't know right now. This fight is over. Naruto turned to leave when Sasuke yelled at him, "Don't you turn your back on me, loser. I'm not done with you yet." Naruto glared back. "You lost the moment you came out here. You think that because you have a family name and a potential dujutsu that you're special." I looked up Uchiha stats in the open records, Sasuke. As Uchiha go, you're average and nothing special. Your brother was the prodigy, not you. You go on and on about your eyes this and your eyes that and taking everything that the village gives you like you deserve it because people treat you special. The blonde pointed and a liquid sprayed into Sasuke's open eyes. The dark-haired boy grabbed his face as he shouted in panic as they burned slightly. That's how an enemy would react to your precious eyes, Sasuke. Just how special would you be without your eyes, Sasuke? That was just lemon juice, but an enemy would be using acid. Maybe it's time you opened your eyes instead of just using them as a crutch. Naruto turned and began to walk away when Sasuke opened his eyes wide and went through his hand seals for his great fireball once more but was felled by a blow to the back of the head. Sasuke rolled to see Sakura standing there and lowering her foot. "In spite of everything, Sasuke, we are still willing to give you a chance. But you need to work for it. We can do great things as a team but only if we are all working together." Naruto's point, however childish, is that you need to stop acting like you are so special and better than everyone. Let go of your anger. Back at the introductions for Team 7, you said that you wanted to restart your clan and kill a certain man. There is no way you can accomplish either one on your own. You'll have to accept help sometime, Sasuke. Sakura held out her hand to her former crush. He looked at her hand, then looked away and climbed to his feet on his own. Sakura just shrugged and turned to walk after Naruto. She only paused to toss a bottle of water onto the ground at his feet. "So you can rinse the lemon juice out of your eyes. I already know you're not going to say thank you," she said as she continued walking. Sasuke picked up the bottled water and tasted it before rinsing out his eyes. He glared after the departing pair and noticed Kakashi still standing there. "Are you going to do anything to them for that?" he asked. "No, they were testing you, Sasuke. You need to earn their trust. They had to rub you face in your own flaws before you would let yourself see those flaws. I will tell you this. Those two work extremely well as a team already. If anyone is going to make this team fail at anything within its capability, that person will be you." The team met every morning for training for the next week. Each day they would try to show Sasuke things they had learned during their remedial training, but Sasuke kept up his arrogant airs. Inside, he raged at how Naruto and Sakura had gotten past him in skill, but he knew he had to listen and learn to get back in front of them. His pride would not let him stay weaker than anyone. He quickly got the step-by-step method to tree climbing and within a day had nearly mastered it. Water walking took an additional 2 days. Water crawling was taking a lot longer. Kakashi even participated in the training exercises to build up a sense of oneness, but Sasuke resisted it. He could not let go of his anger after so many years. It was all that he had left. It had become his existence. The Sand Village was concerned about the condition of the Kazecage's son. They had requested that the comatose boy be moved to the Sand Village with all speed, but Sarutobi prevented it from happening. Both Gaara and Yamanaka Ino went into seizures when the boy was approximately 200 yards away from the girl. Hyuga Hiyashi discovered a thread-thin string of chakra between the pair. Somehow, the girl's mind was trapped within Gaara's mind, but they were now linked by it. If they were moved too far apart, both would die. The Sand Village reluctantly agreed the boy would remain in Konoha for now. After the week of training, the team was sent on a relatively easy C rank to deal with reports of some bandits in the north of the Fire Country. At least there are really bandits this time, Sasuke thought. Kakashi was all business from the moment they left the village. He treated them all like professionals and not students. Sasuke actually thought that was an improvement over the previous Genin. He was even surprised at the actions of Sakura and Naruto being very competent in the field. They had pulled out head cloths they tucked under their headbands to hide their brightly colored hair. They kept trying to get Sasuke to try pulling his weight on the mission, but he either did not know the things they did or did not try to do them. The teamwork was not there. The camp was much larger than they had anticipated. It appeared several smaller groups had come together under a single leader. The camp was too big for a single team of near Chunin to take out. They would have to scout for information and report back to the Hokage. Kakashi pointed out sentry posts surrounding the camp to the teens. The posts were manned in pairs and within sight and sound range of each other. The organization was better than Kakashi expected for mere bandits. Kakashi had proposed an ambush of a scouting party of bandits to get information on the main camp. The team agreed and sat in wait for some of the bandits. Hours passed and Sasuke was getting more and more impatient. Kakashi had long experience at waiting. Naruto and Sakura had learned the self-discipline needed to wait during remedial. Close to sunset, a small group of 5 bandits was spotted heading for the campsite. Kakashi signaled to the others that they would go for a quiet ambush. The path through the trees was almost a road due to repeated traffic, so the bandits were not paying much attention to their surroundings. Kakashi appeared silently behind the rear guard and vanished with him. The next one was a larger man, so Naruto dropped down behind him and chopped his neck just like his training taught him. The only sound was the slight scuff of dirt underfoot. Sakura took the next one slightly better than Naruto did. Sasuke growled under his breath. 2 left and Kakashi signaled he would get the one in front. Sasuke knew he could get them both. He dropped down behind the back one and chopped him better than Sakura or Naruto had done, but instead of catching the man, he allowed him to fall to the ground and moved on the remaining bandit. The unconscious one fell to the ground with a loud clang of weapons and alerted the remaining bandit. The man was no coward, but looking back and finding his comrades gone and a teenager wearing a ninja headband running at you was a frightening thing. He screamed loud and shrill, much like a 5-year-old girl who spotted a bug. Sasuke knocked him out, but the damage had been done. In the distance they could hear shouts of alarm as the sentries for the main camp heard the scream. Kakashi cursed and signaled to the team they were leaving. Naruto and Sakura complied. They picked up their captives and took to the trees. Kakashi glared at Sasuke and pointed at one of the fallen men. Sasuke grumbled as he picked up the bandit and leapt into the trees. Kakashi performed the headhunter jutsu on the man in the path, except no trace of the bandit remained above ground. Pakun, Kakashi's favorite hound summon, watched from concealment as the bandits arrived a few minutes later. One pointed at the tracks in the dirt and a conference ensued. One bandit left and returned in 15 minutes with a man in a gray camouflage outfit and a ninja headband. The pug watched as the ninja performed a jutsu and the body of the bandit was pushed out of the ground. It was too dark for Pakun to see the symbol on the headband, but he could tell it was not slashed like a missing nin's would be. Pakun returned to his summoning point and to wait for Kakashi to bring him back to this plane to report his findings. The quartet of ninja moved silently through the trees with their burdens. After they had gone a good distance, they stopped to discuss their next move. Kakashi kept quiet as Naruto and Sakura checked the bonds of their captives. Sasuke had merely dumped his on the ground and left him. Kakashi was on the point of anger now, but he kept his cool. He was glad that his mask hid his expressions as well as his appearance. Sasuke, check your prisoner's condition and bindings, Kakashi ordered in a low voice. Sasuke had a look like he was being inconvenienced but did as he was told. Once he was finished, Kakashi motioned the team together for a conference. We need to report back to the Hokage. That camp was much better organized than any bandit camp one have seen since just after the last war, Kakashi told them. We could have taken them out, Sasuke said. We're ninja and those were just bandits. Kakashi glared. Sasuke, the next time you open your mouth had better be in response to a question you were asked or to report some information. Your opinion shows how much more you have to learn. If all 3 of you were Jonin or Anbu, I might consider something against that camp, but you're not. A direct assault by this team on that camp would lead to all of us dead and some of the bandits dead. Naruto and Sakura could feel the cold fury in Kakashi's voice. Both had been told by Kat that Kakashi was a former captain in Anbu, and now neither one doubted that information. The captain was in full force here, and both were glad his anger was not directed at them. Sasuke was shocked to hear Kakashi talk like that. It was not just the fact that Kakashi felt he was wrong, but that the leader made it sound like he was speaking down to a child. Sasuke's pride was taking a pounding. The Genin nicked his finger on a hidden point and rubbed blood on his palm. He made hand signs and summoned Pakun. "Yo," said the small dog. "What did you see, Pakun?" Kakashi asked. "Those bandits are well organized. I counted over 100 separate scents. There is at least one high-level ninja in that camp, but he didn't look like the boss. He found the body you buried and pulled it out. That takes a high-level earth technique to accomplish. He had on a headband, but I couldn't see what village. He wasn't a missing nin, Kakashi." Kakashi nodded, then ordered the team to take up the captives. They would go back to Konoha and let T and I deal with the captives. The mission had just gone bad and was far past C-rank parameters. Sarutobi was told by one of his guards that his private team had returned early. He looked out his window to see them walking up to the tower. He took in their body language from a distance, and even he could see that team would not work out like he had wished. Sakura and Naruto were walking on the opposite side of Kakashi from Sasuke. The Uchiha had a look of disgust and arrogance on his face, while Kakashi actually looked angry. Something bad had to have happened to pull that off. He would have to reshuffle some of the elite teams after the Chunin exam finals anyhow. If they held together until then, it would help, but somehow he doubted it would happen. He would move his next option onto the team and see if a more laid-back boy would fit in better. The Uchiha boy had unbalanced every team he had been with so far. Maybe he should just apprentice the boy to someone who would beat the arrogance out of him. Kakashi stood in front of the Hokage making his initial report as the team stood behind him. "We came upon the bandit camp, and it was obviously too well organized to be just bandits. We waited and took a patrol captive and brought most of them back with us. I was forced to kill one, but a ninja with the bandits discovered the hidden body," Kakashi said. Sarutobi stroked his thin beard. This was bad. Jiraiya had come back to town as well with dire information about the new Sound village in Rice Fields country. He stood and went to a map of the region and pulled it out. Visual references might be more useful right now. He unrolled it on the desk and looked it over. The Hokage pointed at a spot on the map. "You place that camp somewhere about here?" he asked. Kakashi looked it over. "That is about right, Hokage-sama." Sarutobi noted the point he was holding his finger at was about halfway between the village and the border with the rice field country to the north. He frowned that his dreams of lasting peace might be coming to an end. Several of the more prominent clans were almost coming to blows over the outcome of the second round of the Chunin exams. The Hyuga elders wanted to break Hiashi to their will by condemning his older daughter to a life in the branch family. She had been badly hurt during the survival test defending her team, and the elders foolishly tried to brand the girl with the caged bird seal for her weakness. The actions of the Inuzuka and Aburame had prevented this by calling a blood debt with Hinata over her, saving potential heirs to each clan. The aged leader was concerned that it would erupt into a full-out civil war between those three clans. It would not stop there, of course. Any clan with a grievance against another would jump into the fight, and in the end all of Konoha would be destroyed. Right now, all they could do was wait for the Hyuga elders to back down from their high-handed proclamation. Hiashi had been in to see him, but he was hampered by his clan. Once the three elite genin in question were healthy, things might improve. The next headache was one almost as severe. Yamanaka Ino and Subaku no Gara were locked in a mutual coma. Ever since her using a clan mind jutsu on the boy, both had been trapped within their minds. The Yamanaka clan could not even break the jutsu without killing both youths, and separating them by more than a few hundred yards would do the same. For 2 weeks now, the pair had been locked away in his mind. He could only imagine what was going on in there. The remains of Root were his next headache. None of the captured members responded to normal interrogation techniques. The children that were freed were able to tell of their treatment, and that gave Morino Ibiki a place to start. However, even the expert Ibiki could only go so far with that information. Of what remained free, Sarutobi could not truly guess. Reports from Anbu and Blue Aardvark were that a minimum of 4 agents were known to have escaped the operation that destroyed the Root HQ. The number of sleeper agents was unknown and might never be known. Danzo would not talk either. Only he knew the full extent of his organization. His newest headache was even more sinister. The bandits Kakashi had brought in the day before sang like birds when interrogated. They were setting up an advance base for a larger force, but they had no clue who that force was. The only larger force in that direction were the ninja of the New Sound village. There was too much unknown about that village, but Sarutobi had too many internal concerns to deal with for the past few years to do more than send an occasional spy in that direction. Jiraiya was overdue to be back in town already, and he should have something on this new village. Dealing with the advance base would take a minimum of 4 squads of Anbu at this point if he wanted to keep things quiet. His trouble was that during the Chunin exams most Anbu were assigned to protection details. All he could do for the next 3 weeks was to rotate individuals on a daily watch of the camp. The last problem facing Sarutobi was purely personal. His latest project was having trouble. Uchiha Sasuke was going to have to be removed from the team he created. The other members worked extremely well together, but Sasuke just would not be a team player. He knew Kakashi had taken on the team he had been planned to receive months before, but there was still something missing in it. The remedial training Naruto and Sakura had been through had drastically changed the mix. Their skill level had risen exponentially during the training. The pair had been through more than their share of trials and had little sympathy for someone who could not deal with problems. Sakura understood losing a parent to the life of a ninja. Naruto had never had anyone close enough to him to lose, but he knew loneliness. Naruto had overcome the animosity of the civilians in the village and still kept mostly sane. Neither could understand how Sasuke could turn away all offers of help from a majority of the people in Konoha. The dark brooding boy seemed to only have a yearning for greater power and revenge. As far as Sarutobi could tell, anything that did not have immediate or tangible results was discounted as a waste of his time by the boy. The boy needs serious mental help, Sarutobi thought as he watched the sunrise from his window. I need to find a way to get him the help he needs without it looking like he is being locked away. Balancing what needs to be done against the agenda of most of the smaller clans and ninja families in Konoha is difficult. If it would not have caused a mass revolt, I would have had it done immediately after the killing of the Uchiha. Sarutobi felt it was owed to Itachi to have Sasuke cared for, but the boy was making things difficult for him. Even he could only overlook so much. Another team exercise bites the dust, Kakashi thought as the trio in front of him descended into a near brawl again. Naruto and Sakura are really good at teamwork, but Sasuke just will not let go of his pride long enough to do his part. The planned exercise today had been a covert operation against a guardhouse. The beginning had gone well, with the team making an undetected approach good enough for Kakashi's standards. Once they were set to go in was when the problem started. Sasuke wanted to be the one fighting, when the assignments Kakashi had given had him standing guard outside. This led to the entire operation being blown when they got discovered. The recurring problem was that Sasuke wanted to be using his jutsu even when the mission did not call for it. He was not suited to a stealth team. Correction, he is not suited to any team until he learns that it's not about getting stronger, it's about doing your job, Kakashi clarified in his head. Strength comes from doing things until they become second nature and building skill up from there. Maybe Hokage-sama can assign Sasuke to the remedial program to learn a few things, like patience and discipline, Kakashi mused. These problems are almost enough to make me pull out the Ika Ika again. The silver-haired Genin had promised the Hokage he would not have the book out during duty time as a part of his own second chance. He took it seriously. Being yelled at by the Hokage for his failings was bad enough once. He did not want it to happen again. Okay team, he called out to the shouting Genin. Why don't we take the afternoon off to relax and take care of personal business? Naruto and Sasuke glared at each other and finally Naruto walked away from the arrogant Uchiha. Sasuke just gave his trademarked HN and went his own way. Sakura sighed as she watched both teammates walk off. She had been trying to be the peacemaker but only served to get her yelled at from both sides. She actually sided with Naruto but was trying to make things work. The only one not willing to compromise here was Sasuke. Until he got it into his head he needed help from other people, he would always end up failing. Her mind constructed a minor fantasy of the Uchiha trying to restart his clan alone. The thought just made her laugh and shake her head. She knew biology made it impossible but still, little self-made clones of Sasuke driving him nuts by acting exactly like him were too funny to not laugh at. She walked after Naruto and sat down nearby as the blonde abused a poor defenseless training post. One positive thing about the remedial course was Naruto trained when he was upset now. It was better than the pranks he had pulled back in the academy when upset. She just sat and meditated on her chakra while Naruto abused the post for a half hour before just yelling out in frustration. Can I beat him senseless, Sakura? Naruto asked. No, because Hokage-sama wouldn't like it, she replied, still molding her chakra into the ground underneath her legs. Why won't he listen to an idea that isn't his? He asked as he sat down and leaned on the post. Because his pride won't let him see we caught up to him and in a few ways are better than him now. If he did he would have to admit he is not getting stronger as fast as he would like. Sad thing is he is the one holding himself back. He tries to do it himself when the person he is trying to catch took advantage of the help of others to get strong in the first place, Sakura replied. She had even mentioned that option to Sasuke only to get the idea shot down like every other argument she had made to the Uchiha. She was fed up with him as well but kept trying in spite of it all. Naruto nodded. Why don't we go check on Ino? Maybe they found something today, he suggested. Sakura smiled and sighed at Naruto's suggestion. They did not expect much to have been done but they would check anyhow. That was what friends do. The hospital waiting room still had a similar group waiting: Ino's parents, a Hyuga, an Aburame, an Inuzuka, Shikamaru and Choji. That alone told the pair that nothing had changed. The gloomy atmosphere in the room did not help much. Sakura nodded to Shikamaru who only nodded back. Choji looked terrible. He obviously had done little for this past 2 weeks. He was supposed to be in the Chunin exam finals along with Shikamaru but it looked like both might have to forfeit. All Choji was doing was eating and had put on a number of pounds. He looked big even for an Akamichi of his age range. Naruto walked up to Shikamaru. The pair shook hands and spoke in quiet tones. Any change? Naruto asked. No word at all. Ino's clan thinks anything that will happen has to come from inside. They don't understand or won't tell us why both are trapped like they are. I suspect there is something about Gaara that Suna is not talking about and hiding from us. Something that would solve this whole mystery, Shikamaru explained. Naruto nodded. He knew that Shikamaru was a lot smarter than he let on for a long time. His learning to slow down and think about his own actions had allowed him to see that in the quiet boy. How are you guys holding up? Me. Not so bad. My mom makes me get out of here in the evenings and my dad makes me get in a couple hours of training a day but I am worried about Choji. He is here most of the time. It's obvious he cares about Ino but he is letting himself go. We need to get him out of here for a few hours at least. Sakura got a shiver when she saw the grin appear on Naruto's face. Naruto, what are you planning? She whispered. Go with Shikamaru and open the doors between here and the exit. Oh, make sure everyone is out of the way, too, he said with his old foxy grin. The friends did what Naruto asked as he sidled up and sat next to Choji. How are things going, Choji? Naruto asked. Not good. Ino won't wake up, Choji muttered without looking up. Naruto nodded in sympathy. He saw Sakura emotion that the way out of the building was clear. Well, you never know. Things will get better, Choji. But there is one thing that needs dealing with, Naruto said with a nod. Oh, what's that? Choji asked. Well, I am just wondering how Ino will react when she sees how fat you got, Naruto said in an offhand manner. Choji's eyebrow twitched. What did you say? He replied in a quiet voice. Fat. When Ino sees how fat you got just sitting around waiting for her to get better, Naruto said with a big grin. Choji's face turned red as Naruto kept pushing at his weak spot. Even Ino's parents noticed it. Naruto just kept speaking like he saw nothing. You know, maybe we should have you and Ino trade names after this. She can be the butterfly while you take her place as the big fat pig, Naruto said as he stood up. Choji was almost purple in anger now as he roared out and swung at the already moving Naruto. Then the blonde was off down the hallway toward the exit with Choji in pursuit. Shikamaru took a few seconds to tell Ino's parents everything was fine and Naruto had done that on purpose to get Choji out of there for a little while. He would be back later on after Choji calmed down. The lazy Nara then ran off after his friend to make sure Naruto survived Choji's anger. Over the years, Naruto had developed a good sense of the geography of Konoha. He immediately knew where to lead Choji as he kept himself just out of reach. Every time it looked like the Akamichi was going to stop his chase, Naruto would enrage him again by oinking at the rotund teen. Once in the training fields, Naruto spun and sucker punched Choji then got into a ready stance. Choji still was too angry to see what Naruto was doing and attacked. His arms wheeled and spun as he tried to hit Naruto but the blonde kept making parries and blocks with few responses. Naruto used just enough on his counters to make Choji have to get up a defense. As Choji's training took over, his attacks became more focused. Naruto felt an especially hard hit to the jaw that almost loosened teeth and knew Choji was focused enough. Naruto jumped back and cast a low-level water jutsu at Choji. Water whip, the blonde said in a low voice as a whip of water rose from the nearby stream. The water flew at Choji who dodged it in a speed that defied his bulk. Naruto was forced to keep his fingers in a certain position while his arms moved to manipulate the water. Choji called out, Baika no Jutsu, both hands. The teen's hands grew to enormous size and he swung one at Naruto and the other at the water whip that kept flailing at his head. The palm of one hand hit the water and the whip shattered with a splash while the other forced Naruto to dodge to avoid getting hit. Choji settled himself into a different stance than the academy taught and began to make taijutsu strikes at Naruto with his enlarged hands and forearms. His bulk kept him firmly rooted while the extended limbs made Naruto have to dodge to avoid him. Naruto found he could not block or parry the enlarged fists and arms of Choji. He was forced to keep moving and could not find the time to make a counterattack. A horizontal swing by Choji had Naruto leap up only to get slapped to the ground by a table-sized palm coming down from above. Naruto slammed into the ground with a thud. He stood but his back was to Choji and could not see the next attack coming. Choji clapped his hands together capturing Naruto between the palms of his hands. The shock stunned Naruto but Choji followed with an uppercut that sent Naruto flying back into a tree. Choji was about to follow up and keep hitting Naruto but he found he couldn't move. That's enough, Choji, Shikamaru said. You got to hit Naruto for calling you that word. Now you need to calm down. Choji blinked a few times as his head cleared of anger. He did it on purpose just to get a rise out of me, didn't he? Yup, said Shikamaru. You know that Ino would be yelling at both of us for sitting around like we've been doing. I knew it and have been working some at home after visiting hours. You have just been sitting around moping and not listening to anyone. Naruto just took the most direct route to convincing you of that. I just want Ino to get better, Shikamaru, Choji said in a rough voice. So do I, big guy, Shikamaru replied. We can't just sit and wait for that. We have responsibilities now too. The Chunin exam finals are in a little while. But you know something? I didn't think you could use your family jutsu like that. I've never seen anyone in your family do taijutsu with their hands and arms like that. Choji smiled slightly for the first time in weeks. It was something I had been thinking about a lot while sitting in the waiting room. It takes a lot of chakra control. Since it was on my mind, I used it. Naruto was up and slowly walking over to Choji. His face was a massive bruise. Sorry about calling you that, Choji. I had to say something to snap you out of your funk, Naruto lisped over his fat lip. Then the blonde bowed properly. I apologize. I should be thanking you, Naruto. But apology accepted. Let's go get something to eat. All that fighting got me hungry. It's your treat, right? Choji said with an edge to his voice. Naruto paled and nodded. For the first time he would know what it felt like for Iruka when the teacher treated him to ramen. The entire ninja corps knew something was going on now. The Hokage had increased patrols throughout the Fire Country. Their leader had even asked the daimyo to have all missing person reports forwarded to Konoha. The number of bandit attacks in the countryside dropped dramatically as the Konoha patrols pushed further and further from the main village. The village was on the edge of a war footing, but Sarutobi went to the daimyo himself to explain his actions. He returned quickly with the leader's blessing. The days counted down toward the Chunin exam finals as leaders and dignitaries arrived to see the spectacle. It appeared as if things would go off without a problem. The bandit base in the north was still unmolested because Sarutobi did not want the people behind it to know Konoha was aware of a plan in the works. Then, a patrol in the southwestern part of the Fire Country did not report in. Team Kakashi was dispatched to investigate. The Hokage would have liked to have sent an Anbu squad, but he had most of them still tied up in protection duty. He was stretching the military ninja thinly with all of the patrols as it was. The only free squad was his personal one. Why do we have to be the ones to go out on this search, Kakashi-sensei? We are going to miss the fights if this takes more than a day or two. Naruto grumbled. We are going because Hokage-sama told us to, Kakashi said with a chuckle. You're not planning going against orders, are you, Naruto? Sakura asked as she stuck out her tongue at Naruto. She enjoyed it when Naruto grumbled. I'm here running through the trees, ain't I? Naruto riposted. How far until we reach the missing squad's patrol area? Kakashi thought for a moment before replying. About a full day out from Konoha. It was one of the long-range border patrols, a mix of Chunin and Genin ninja. They are supposed to report back daily by messenger bird, but there was nothing from them for a second day now. Late is one thing, but no reporting means something is wrong. Sasuke just was quiet and listened. He felt he was not a part of this team in any real sense. After the first incident on being assigned to this team, neither Naruto nor Sakura tried to beat him down like they had. More often than not, they went about their business and would ask him if he wished to join in once. He had only grunted and ignored the offer. Sakura just said, when you're ready to accept help, you know where to find us. On some level he found himself wanting to belong, but he knew he never could. He was an Avenger. He just pushed the thoughts of friends out of his head. He would get stronger and deal with his brother on his own. The squad came up to a small town. The daimyo kept a small garrison here because the town was along a trade route. The garrisons took care of normal policing within the country and handled normal bandits and criminals. Kakashi decided to check in with the commander to find out if any news had come in. He had the genin check the area surrounding the town for signs of ninja activity, but to stay within signal range of the town. The Jonin was impressed at the appearance of the barracks of this detachment of the Legion. The camp was clean and organized. It seems the man running it kept his men disciplined and organized. It should take less than an hour to talk to the garrison commander. Kakashi walked into the building and asked to see the commander. The secretary nodded quickly and went to see his commander. Under the daimyo's orders, a Konoha Jonin had an unofficial rank of low officer within the legions. Since the garrison commander was only a high sergeant, he saw Kakashi immediately. "Welcome, sir," the commander said warmly. "What can we help you with today?" "Ah, Sergeant San, my squad was sent to check on a missing border patrol of ours and I was hoping you might have any information on local happenings or rumors," Kakashi said in a warm tone. At least this Jonin is not the overbearing type, the sergeant thought. He still has some respect for the military. "We have only heard a few travelers' tales in the bar about the sand being mobilized, but there have been no reports of anything else, sir. Our own patrols have seen nothing as of this morning." Kakashi nodded. Konoha had heard nothing of the sand village being mobilized, but then caravan merchants tended to not be allowed to enter Konoha. Goods that came to Konoha were only brought in by authorized middlemen from trade towns some distance out from the village itself. It was a security measure designed to cut down on the number of outsiders in the village. The Chunin exams was the only time that the village was more open to visitors without rigorous screening. "Thank you, Sergeant San," Kakashi said, nodding gratefully. "I'll leave you to your duties. I appreciate your assistance." Kakashi left quickly after that. He signaled to his team and headed out of town toward the point where the missing team had last reported. The Genin formed up on him quickly. Kakashi noted that Sasuke was doing what he needed to even if he avoided the rest of the team. They still had not cracked his shell. Kakashi estimated they were within an hour's travel from the last known position of the missing patrol. He signaled a stop and summoned out Pakun. The pug listened as Kakashi briefed the dog. The dog then led off. Naruto was still surprised at how intelligent the dog was. A talking animal was not something common, but he had taught to expect strange things. The group had not traveled very far when Pakun veered off to one side to what looked like a clearing ahead. The squad stopped near the edge and was shocked by what they saw. The clearing was actually shattered trees. The smell of blood was lingering even to Sakura's untrained nose. Scavengers had already been at the bodies and the torn remains were scattered amid the broken tree limbs. Kakashi signaled for the team to wait while he moved to examine the broken branches. All had been cut cleanly and in multiple places. It was a wind jutsu, he thought. Outside of Suna there are few wind users and I can't think of any missing nin reported nearby that use such jutsu. We need to get back to Konoha and report this. Kakashi sensed something closing in quickly and moved out of the way. He jumped toward the direction he had felt the attack come from. His tactic proved correct when a trio of explosions roared behind him. If he had moved away from his attackers, he would have been caught in one of them. Now that he was somewhat in the clear, he focused on who had assaulted him. 3 ninja wearing sound headbands and a 4th wearing a full-face Anbu-style mask were arrayed in front of him. Kakashi noticed Sasuke coming up from behind to support him directly while Naruto and Sakura were nowhere to be seen. "Ah, Sasuke-kun. Just the person I needed to talk to," the masked ninja said in muffled tones. "Why would you be looking for me?" Sasuke growled out. "I have an offer for you. If you join us, you can get the strength you are looking for to kill Itachi. You just have to come to sound with us. Orochimaru has more than enough power to grant you what you need." "Don't trust them, Sasuke," Kakashi broke in. "Orochimaru is a liar and a criminal. He experiments on people who trust him." "Enough talking," cried out the largest sound ninja. His gray camouflage outfit did not blend well in the green and brown trees. His hands flashed through a jutsu and he cupped his hands around his mouth and screamed, "Ah!" The sound waves from his shout were deafening and both Kakashi and Sasuke leapt away before the full effect hit them. The tree stump Kakashi had been standing on shattered under the waves of sound that hit it moments later. Sasuke was in midair and began his own jutsu when an attack from the second sound ninja hit him. The girl plucked a string on a small handheld harp. The sound hit Sasuke just as he began to breathe out a fireball. The boy found himself completely disoriented as the vibrations played havoc with his sense of balance. He still got his fireball off in the direction of the masked ninja, however. The four enemies scattered. Three headed for Kakashi while the girl focused on Sasuke. Sasuke was able to regain enough sense to land awkwardly on a fallen tree branch before jumping down in between several to get out of view of his enemies. Kakashi looked left and right at the edges of the clearing and nodded quickly. He jumped toward the masked ninja while the third sound ninja began his own jutsu. He was moving through the hand signs when he suddenly stopped with a gurgle. His teammates looked back to see a pair of kunai embedded in his neck, one on either side. The sound ninja fell dead with no further noise as blood spewed from his severed neck arteries. The large ninja looked around but saw no other leaf ninja besides the pair in front of him. Sasuke reached back into his equipment pouch and pulled out several kunai. He hurled them at the girl with the harp. So you like playing with wires? Try playing with mine then. He yelled. The girl dodged the kunai but not the ninja wire they were attached to. She found herself caught as the kunai embedded in the fallen branches under her feet. Kaden. Hausenka no Jutsu, Phoenix Flower, Sasuke shouted as he shot several fireballs at the trapped girl. She was too busy struggling to escape as the close-range juts scorched her body. The shuriken hidden inside the fireballs all impacted in vital locations as well, killing the sound girl. Kakashi had pulled out kunai and engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the masked ninja. Neither could gain an upper hand as both were too fast for the other to get in a clean blow. Drops of blood from minor cuts dotted their uniforms as they fought. This masked man is Anbu level at least, Kakashi thought. I need a new plan. The large sound ninja tried to circle around to get behind Kakashi when Naruto and Sakura burst out of the trees on either side of him. The sound ninja tried to leap away but a blow from Naruto sent him to the ground. He was skidding along when Sakura closed in on him. The man spun ready for her and parried her lead attack with one hand. He followed up with a sharp blow to her stomach with the other. Sakura gasped as she took the hit to her solar plexus. The sound ninja followed up with a downward blow to her face, knocking the girl to the ground at his feet. Naruto closed back in on the enemy as the man spun towards him. The man started on some hand signs when he pitched forward shouting in pain. Both of his Achilles tendons were severed by a kunai. Sakura rose up behind his fallen form gasping out, "Don't turn you back on a downed enemy. Down is not always out. Besides, Naruto hits harder than you." She coughed as she tried to catch her breath. Naruto began to bind the fallen enemy's arms behind his back. Kakashi and the masked enemy both noted the fall of the sound team and the masked man made a move to get away. Kakashi took the moment of his enemy trying to find an escape route to launch a spread of shuriken. Two managed to hit the man as he fled, one in the leg, the other in the stomach. A trail of blood fell to the ground as the man disappeared into the trees. Kakashi wasted no time. He swiped a bit of blood from one of his small cuts and quickly made 5 hand signs and pressed it to the broken tree limb he stood on. There was a cloud of chakra smoke and when it cleared 7 dogs sat there. Pakun raced in from the shadows to join them. Track the man that left. Find out where he is heading. Sound Ninja would not be operating this deep in the fire country without some kind of hideout. Report back to me. If he just hides, kill him, Kakashi ordered. The dogs barked as a unit and followed the blood trail. Kakashi turned to look over the squad. Naruto was unharmed and checking the body his and Sakura's kunai had nearly beheaded. Sasuke was standing to one side with his arms crossed and a disgusted look on his face. Sakura had the makings of a huge bruise on the right side of her face and was still wheezing, but that was fading fast. Kakashi looked at the captive and made a small smile. So, got anything you want to confess before we get to the painful part? Before Kakashi could follow up on his threat, his hounds came running back. Kakashi! Pakun cried out. We have trouble. The dogs all stopped in a semicircle before Kakashi. What is it, Pakun? Kakashi asked. Not even 5 minutes travel away from here for you humans. More sand ninjas than I could count. They are coming this way and I don't think you want to be here when they arrive. Their course is directly towards Konoha. Pakun said. They were approaching an opening in the forest when a scout reported a leaf ninja standing in the middle of it reading an orange book. The Genin in charge of one of the columns signaled a halt to his ninja. He was troubled because sound teams should have been dealing with the leaf patrols. Small groups moved out on both sides to check for traps and ambushes while slightly scattering forces for safety. Other columns further out continued on toward Konoha. The lead Genin sent a low-level Genin out to see what was going on with this leaf ninja. The masked man had white hair that stood up and the man's headband was lowered over his left eye. The man was familiar somehow, so he quietly asked his aide for information from the bingo book. That is Sharingan Kakashi, sir. If he is here they must know about our breaking the alliance and pending attack with sound, the man replied. This far from Konoha? No, I think it is just chance we ran into him. If they knew we were coming they would have kept someone like that closer to the village, the commander said in a confident voice. The Sand Genin approached Kakashi in a friendly manner. Kakashi looked up from his book and smiled at the Sand Genin. You could only tell he was by the expression on the small visible part of his face. Good evening, Kakashi said. You and all of your friends seem to be a little far from the Wind Country. Might I ask you business here in the Fire Country? The Genin had a quick mind and had a prepared lie just in case. We are traveling to Konoha to watch the Kasecage's son fight in the Chunin exams, he said. Ah, well, did you bring your tickets with you? Kakashi asked, raising his eyebrow. The Genin was surprised by the question. No one had mentioned having a conversation about this. No, we are going to be getting tickets when we arrive, he said as he nodded his head. I see, Kakashi said, nodding as well. But you would be disappointed. The arena sold out of tickets last week and the Hokage does not allow standing room tickets to be sold. You are making a trip for nothing. Perhaps you should turn around and return to the Wind Country. The Sand Genin was getting more confused as the minutes passed. This leaf ninja was acting like nothing was out of the ordinary. He had not lowered his book either. I'll go pass that on to my friends. We're going to be disappointed, huh? He asked. If you turn back you'll be just disappointed. If you go past me, you'll be like them. Kakashi said while idly turning a page in the book. The breeze shifted slightly just then. The smell of blood hit the Sand Genin as he looked past Kakashi to see 3 dead sound ninjas. The bodies had been searched for weapons and equipment that was not taken had been broken. He looked back at Kakashi. What happened to them? Kakashi looked up and smiled once more. No tickets. The Sand Commander was nervous now. His force had been standing still for nearly 3 minutes now. The sentries that moved out had found nothing. Some had moved around the edge of the clearing and found nothing beyond it. This person was alone. They should just kill him and move on. The Sand Genin talking to Kakashi was now scared. The leaf ninja in front of him should be sensing the hundreds of ninja surrounding the clearing, but he gave no sign of worry. The slight shifting of feet and the creaking of the branch the man was standing on proved he was not a bunshin. The Sand Genin decided to act. Okay, I guess we'll just head back then. Thanks for the information. He stuck out his hand and waited for Kakashi to shake it. They were allies, of course. Allies were friendly to each other. Kakashi smiled and took the offered hand and shook. The white-haired Genin never saw the kunai that pierced his side. The Sand Genin grinned at the stupidity of the leaf ninja when Kakashi disappeared in a puff of chakra smoke. Seconds after that, explosions underneath him tore him to pieces. Damn it, it was all a trick, a shadow clone. Grumbled the lead Genin. He hated to lose a man like that, but now they needed to catch up to the ninja who had created it. Kakashi almost missed a step as he felt the shadow clone disperse. The darkening sky overhead was going to make it difficult to see in the forest soon. Well, that only bought us a couple of minutes. Some of the sand ninja didn't even slow down. We have to warn Konoha and also see what we can do to slow these sand ninja down, he thought. Naruto was quiet. He had not even had time to react to his first kill yet, and now he was being thrust into a war. He had just thrown the kunai. It was just like he had trained. The fact that it ended the sound ninja's life bothered him. He threw it like he had in practice 1,000 or more times. It was easy until he heard the gurgle from the enemy. Then when they were forced to flee, Kakashi had simply slit the throat of the captive sound ninja with about as much worry as a butcher cutting a side of beef. It was something to think about. Well, my shadow clone slowed some of them down for a few minutes. There are a lot more sand ninja out there. Several hundred minimum, Kakashi told his team. Sakura looked worried. What do we do, Kakashi-sensei? She asked. Since they are in the fire country in force and killed my shadow clone, that means we are at war. We fight them as best as we can and find a way to report this back to Konoha. It means one of us should go on ahead while the other three try to slow down the enemy, Kakashi said with a quiet voice. I'm staying, Naruto said with a firm voice. I am not abandoning my friends. If Naruto is staying, so am I, Sakura put in. He would do something stupid like get himself killed if I left him behind. I guess that means Sasuke will have to get the message back to Konoha, Kakashi said. Sasuke hesitated. He didn't want to look like a coward now. The words of his brother years before suddenly echoed in his ears. Run, run and cling to life. If he took that path again he would be running forever. Naruto and Sakura had been trouble and might be holding him back, but they had not given up on him in spite of his actions. They could have pounded him into the ground like he would have done, but they chose not to. They had beaten him to show him that they could, but then offered friendship. It bothered him because it made him lose focus on his vengeance. The fact that Sakura kept saying he could not do everything alone echoed in his dreams. If he wanted to rebuild his clan one day, he would need at least one woman's help. But if he stayed to fight, he could die and lose any chance for his vengeance. In the past, the thought of not getting Itachi to pay for his crimes was unacceptable. But the thought of running away now felt even worse. I won't run away this time, Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke spoke up after his thoughts finished. We'll have to find some other method to warn Konoha. The team had kept leaping through the trees as they spoke. Kakashi noticed they were close to the village outpost they had stopped in on the way out. Yes, they had a corral with horses, he remembered. The team had 5 minutes, at most 10 before the column caught up to them. Even the soldiers needed more time than that to get moving. Kakashi stopped at a good location near the top of a hill. The trees were not quite as tall here and had a slightly increased view of the approach. He created a shadow clone who immediately took off running to the outpost. The Genin then swallowed a food pill to regain some of his energy. He looked to the team. My shadow clone will take a message to the Legion garrison we stopped at this afternoon. He will have them send a message off by rider back toward Konoha and hopefully alert any patrols we have closer to the village, Kakashi explained. We need to buy him enough time for the soldiers to get riders moving. Naruto frowned. This is the second time you mentioned a shadow clone, Kakashi-sensei. It's just another Bunshin, right? No, Naruto. It is a special jutsu that makes a limited copy of me that can do tasks and perform jutsu. It's very draining due to the chakra it needs. It's also a Genin level technique that is forbidden from common use, Kakashi explained. But for now, we need to delay the ninja behind us long enough for him to do his job. Once the warning gets out we start playing cat and mouse with these sand ninja. Sakura, Naruto, start setting explosive tags on the bottom of the branches in an arc around us about 30 yards out. Sasuke, get some wires set up just inside of that. Leave us a path out, but it will slow down the enemy from overwhelming us too quickly. The Genin quickly got to work. Naruto was intrigued by the jutsu, but he had other things to worry about. The hospital in Konoha was quiet as dusk settled over the village. Visitors were being sent away so the night shift could come on duty. The room holding the still forms of Gaara and Ino constantly had an Anbu guard inside and outside of the room. Even without knowing much about medicine, the agent knew that the condition of the pair was unnatural. The nurse had explained about the brain wave patterns should not be that low. The agent had seen it often enough over the past few shifts to notice that the patterns had shifted slightly as the days passed. Tonight, he was looking at one and was puzzled by something else new. The patterns had increased and began moving synchronized. The Sand Ninja stopped in the gloom when they noticed the Leaf team waiting ahead. The younger ones all seemed to be quite tired from the increased speed since meeting the Shadow Clone. The leader fanned his troops out so they would not be taken out by a single jutsu. The lead Genin was more leery of a trap than he was last time. He stopped about 20 yards away from them when he spotted the wire between the trees. "Surrender and I promise you will not suffer," he called out. "Oh," Kakashi replied. "That means you plan to kill us quickly, I assume." Sakura noted the Sand Ninja trying to flank their position and signaled to Kakashi. Kakashi triggered the explosive tags. Dozens of tags blew up, sending shattered pieces of tree limbs flying upwards. The shrapnel tore into the legs of dozens of Sand Ninja higher up, while the blast downward took out more down on the ground before the falling debris landed on them as well. Sasuke flung shuriken off to the sides, releasing the wire net he had woven between the team and the ambush. Naruto and Sakura flung kunai with more explosive tags attached at any clump of Sand Ninja they could see. Additional explosions rocked the forest. Kakashi and Sasuke sprung into melee to the left while Naruto and Sakura went to the other side. Kakashi had not told the Genin, but his choice of place for an ambush as well as the timing of it was deliberate. The hilltop explosion could be heard for miles around but could be seen much further than that. Even if the garrison could not get the word out, some Leaf Ninja would see the blast and report it. Sasuke's blood pounded in his ears as he fired his Phoenix Flower Jutsu at another clump of Sand Ninja. The plan was to create as many casualties as possible before they tried to break contract. He was quickly going through his chakra, but he did not let up his attacks. He dodged the thrown kunai of a Chunin and saw that Kakashi was being attacked by at least 3 Sand Ninja at once. The Uchiha could not even warn his team leader as he was forced to dodge an even greater amount of kunai and shuriken heading his way. The deepening darkness was working against him as he could not track every object thrown at him. He kept trying to focus, but the smoke was making his eyes water and hurt. A blade cut across his leg and almost threw him off balance. He cursed and dodged again only to see he was moving into a volley of shuriken he could not dodge. He was about to cover his vitals when he could see the paths the shuriken would travel. He twisted wildly in midair and only took a few minor cuts. His vision seemed to have shifted slightly before he realized his Sharingan must have activated. He immediately took advantage of that by pulling out his own throwing weapons and counter-attacking. He would throw a single kunai or shuriken and follow it up as soon as he saw his opponent's move. His eyes would clue him in as to how the person was going to dodge, and he inflicted more damage. Naruto was moving as fast as he could. He just slashed and cut every Sand Ninja he could find. Sakura was following close behind on his left and calling out targets. Their months of training together in the remedial classes were paying dividends. As no one else would work with them, they had often needed to fight as a pair. They were tired after running all day, but they forced chakra into their arms and legs to compensate for fatigue and increase their speed. Neither one stood still long enough to allow the sand forces to focus a long-range jutsu at them. The Sand Ninja were not familiar with the trees, and fighting in them was another advantage the pair used. The obstacle course made a lot more sense to the Leaf Ninja now. It simulated maneuvering in a forest canopy, and now both took advantage of that learned skill. Sakura was being the brains of the team in their attack. She would attack from behind on any Sand Ninja that Naruto could not take down quickly. They had a huge disadvantage because of their lack of experience, but the terrain and darkness helped. Naruto would engage close and get the enemy tied up in a clinch, while Sakura would move up from behind and hamstring the opponent. Once an enemy was taken down, Naruto or Sakura would swipe their enemy's weapons pack to replenish their own. They kept after the solo ninja and lightly wounded ones as much as possible until Naruto was pierced by a tanto in the stomach. Sakura launched a wave of kunai and shuriken at the enemy ninja to force them away from Naruto. The man was about to jump away when Naruto grabbed his leg and held him in place. The man didn't have time to defend as a kunai took out his eye. He fell down to the forest floor screaming. Naruto pulled the tanto from his side and held his hand over the wound. The blood was already slowing as he felt the chakra of his tenant trying to heal his body. The lower his own got, the more he was aware of the demons. His anger had been growing as the fight dragged on, but he only used it to keep going. Sakura signaled to Kakashi that Naruto was badly wounded and she was getting low on chakra. Kakashi was already getting tired. He needed to uncover his implanted Sharingan early in the fight and the drain was getting to him. He acknowledged Sakura's hand signs. They would need to break contact soon and find a place to hole up and rest. He made fewer jutsu and had to get into close combat as the darkness fell. The wounded sand ninja around them were moaning in pain. The plan to wound as many as possible could backfire on them, but with enough casualties for the unwounded to attend to, they should be able to get away. He was about to signal to Naruto and Sakura to head in his direction when he saw something he was afraid might happen. Another column of sand ninja had seen the explosion and come to investigate. The arrival split the pairs of leaf ninja and forced them to choose, escape separately or die trying to get together. Kakashi signaled to Sakura, break contact and head north. He and Sasuke would head east and draw as many of the enemy as they could. The pairs then broke off in separate directions. The Genin in charge of the new column sent several squads after each pair while the rest of his forces did search and rescue. The shadow clone raced through the forest to the garrison town. He flinched as he heard the explosion behind him. The clone covered the last mile and sprinted up to the building, calling out to the guard before stopping a short distance away so he could be recognized. The garrison sergeant looked out of his window and frowned. The explosion they had heard was faint, but the guard on duty had called him from dinner to report it. He recognized Kakashi from that afternoon and rushed outside. "Sir, what is it?" he asked. "Invasion," the shadow clone informed him. "Those rumors you heard about the sand being mobilized were true. They are invading the fire country to go after Konoha. My team is fighting some right now and I need you to use your horses to get an alert to the legions, the daimyo in Konoha." The sergeant understood and got his men moving. The discipline the sergeant had kept his men under paid off. Within 10 minutes, a half-dozen horses rode away into the night. Off to the north, a white-haired man had been making good time towards Konoha. He was very late in returning to the fire country after a request for some information by the Hokage had kept him busy. The sand had been stopping everyone associated with the leaf from leaving. He had been forced to sneak past them. He saw the flash of light from the initial explosion followed by more. With the information he already had, this was only a confirmation. War was coming. New flashes of light were moving slowly in his direction. The low rumbles of the initial blasts were finally reaching him. That had to be some high-powered tags to be heard this far away. On the top of a line of small hills, so the site of the blast would be seen further off too. That means a Jonin or a really smart Chunin over there. He bit his thumb and went through a summoning jutsu. When the chakra smoke cleared, a large rust-colored toad sat before him. "What do you need, Jiraiya-sama?" the toad asked. "I need for you to head for Konoha as quickly as you can. Inform the Hokage that my previous message was correct. We have been betrayed. I have seen a battle to my south, so someone must have stumbled over the sand army and is trying to do something about it," Jiraiya said in a serious voice. Naruto dodged another exploding tag that came from behind Sakura and him. The tree shrapnel missed him this time. He made sure to keep himself between the teams pursuing them and Sakura. Since he was hurt, it made sense that if someone could get away, it would be the healthy person. He chuckled that if he had said that out loud, Sakura would have smacked him on the shoulder. "At least she stopped hitting me on the head," he thought as he forced himself to move out of range of another explosion. Dang, these sand guys are not giving up. The trees opened up ahead. A farmstead, he realized. Not a good time to be losing cover. Sakura rushed to the tree line and quickly scanned the fields. The moon was near full, so there was plenty of light in the open. No enemies in sight. She pulled out her last exploding tag and set it in an obvious place on a large tree. No sense in being subtle right now, the girl thought. She pumped all the chakra she could spare into it and jumped down as Naruto came running out of the trees and landed badly on the ground. He rolled and was back on his feet in moments as the pair fled across the open fields. They left behind a trail in the sandy soil because they only used enough chakra in their steps to ensure traction. Dirt flew up behind them, but they sped through the soft dirt of the fields as if sprinting down a concrete sidewalk. The tag exploded behind them and made the teams pursuing them pause while they made sure traps were not waiting as they went around the blast. Precious seconds that allowed the fleeing pair make it to the far side of the fields and disappeared into the trees. Sasuke and Kakashi dropped down to a road and fled at their top speed. They had enough of a head start on the enemy that they should be able to break contact with that group. The teammates found a place in some bushes near the road to hide and catch their breath. The sand would be dealing with too many wounded to pursue closely. Kakashi smiled when his shadow clone self dispelled and the memories came to him. The soldiers got an alert moving. I just hope the enemy is not watching the roads for such things already, he told Sasuke. We need to find a place to rest for a few hours. What about Sakura and Naruto? Sasuke asked. Once the enemy separated us, there was not much we could do except hope they got away. Naruto got hurt but should be fine if they can break contact, Kakashi replied. And if they can't, then they might not survive, was all Kakashi said with a rough tone in his voice. There was a long pause before he spoke again. I know it is harsh, but that is also a part of being a ninja, Sasuke. Sometimes we kill them, sometimes they kill us. People die in war. Friends die even if you don't want them to. The best you can do is make sure their sacrifice is not in vain. That is something I forgot a long time ago and only now remembering that lesson. Sasuke just nodded. My Sharingan activated during the battle. Right now, for some reason I don't understand, it doesn't seem as important as it did at that moment. Kakashi and Sasuke sat in silence for about 10 more minutes before Kakashi signaled for them to get moving once more. Sasuke was actually glad now that Kakashi had made him get into better shape over the past few weeks. His second wind might not last too long. But if he had tried this back before joining the team, he would not have gotten this far. Kakashi turned them so their course was heading north in the hope of being able to track down the rest of their team. Naruto grunted as a bad landing on a branch jarred his wound. Tree running with a stab wound in your stomach was not fun at all. He could feel the wound pulling back open each time he jumped. If he was anyone else, he certainly would have been dead by now. The healing he had always taken for granted was working overtime today. He managed to swallow a blood pill early on, so he was not too worried in that respect. The red haze in his vision was from something besides blood loss. He should have been out of chakra already, but here he was still pushing onwards. Sakura was not in much better shape. The pair had to change direction 2 times already to keep from being caught by enemy ninja. All she had to steer them by now was occasional sightings of the moon through the trees. She led. Naruto just followed as if attached to her. She knew he was in pain, but neither one could stop. His blood was giving away their position every time. Sand trackers would find the scent and follow them. She decided he would not go down alone if it came to that. She needed to get them down from the trees. The smallest track would be enough, but the near virgin forest had few ground trails in it. Animal trails wound around too much for the ninja. A healthy Konoha ninja had no trouble tree running, but Naruto was not healthy right now. Sakura called for a break while she climbed higher in the trees to reorient herself. Naruto leaned heavily against the bole of the huge tree. He just closed his eyes and breathed slowly and deeply to try to catch his breath. Just 10 minutes of rest and he could run for another hour. But they didn't have 10 minutes. Each break cut down on the lead the last trap had gotten them. Sakura growled in frustration. They were being forced to travel northwest again. Once they had gotten past the farmstead, they ran into the rear guard of a third column of sand ninja. Teams of the new column had come after them. The sand ninja kept forcing them to move faster than they had previously and drained both leaf ninja faster than they could recover chakra. The pair had been forced to use traps and ambushes to slow the sand. The pursuit was relentless and served only to push them further from their ultimate destination. The pink-haired teen contemplated her last food pill but decided to wait to have it until she could not travel anymore or was brought to battle. She wondered if Kakashi-sensei and Sasuke had gotten away. Naruto had counted 4 minutes already when he forced himself up on his feet. He had not felt this tired since down en route. He looked up to see Sakura return only to have her gasp in the darkness. "What's wrong, Sakura-chan?" Naruto said in a quiet voice. "Naruto, your eyes are glowing red right now," she said even more quietly. "Really?" he replied. "I can't see them, so I didn't know that. I'm seeing a light red haze over my vision." "What does that mean, Naruto? You never had red eyes before." "I have an idea of why, but I'll have to tell you later." "I can hear them getting closer," the blonde said to distract his partner. "You sure you can make it, Naruto?" Came a worried question he didn't want to consider. "I have to make it. I'm going to be Hokage one day, right? I have to get through this to do that," he said with a fake grin. He stood freely and the pair leapt off the branch into the night. 3 minutes later, a squad of sand ninja landed on that very branch. A horseman rode down the road at night. He had already alerted 2 garrisons and was told there was a Konoha patrol in the region. He headed down the trail towards the town the caravan stopped at and hoped no one lay in wait. More than an hour later, Naruto and Sakura had the next opening in the trees they wanted, but not in the way they had hoped. They had come across the Kyubi Trail. "This leads right to the walls of Konoha," she realized. "We could be home in a few hours following this." The Kyubi Trail was a line of devastation in the forests surrounding Konoha. It was the path the Kyubi had taken from its summoning point to the walls of Konoha itself. Everyone avoided it whenever possible because nothing would grow there. Residual energy pocketed and lay dormant as traps for the unwary. Minor Oni flocked to the trail to absorb the energy but never stayed too long. Even they would get afraid of what might happen if they stayed. The dead trunks of once mighty trees were all that remained on the trail. Sakura had stopped on the edge of the trail and caught Naruto as he almost fell out of the tree. Naruto had passed out. "There goes my plan to simply run down the trail to Konoha." She lifted her teammate up onto her back. She didn't want to leave him behind. There were shouts behind her from their pursuers. The half-mile to the other side might as well have been 100 now. They would not get across without being caught. Sakura jumped to the ground. She knelt down in the bushes on the edge of the trail for a moment, then headed out into the moonlit skeletal trees amid dust the breeze kicked up. She had made it about a third of the way across when the sand ninja caught up. At least 20 phased in around Sakura using a Shunshin jutsu. She looked for a possible escape but saw none. She reached down and swiftly ate her last food pill, knowing she might not survive the next few minutes. "My turn to protect you, Naruto," she said. After she set him down on the ground leaning on a tree, Sakura leapt to attack.